So you just heard Megan there talking about her experience with having to prove over and over and over again that she was actually a victim when we have charges, we have photographs, we had witnesses. Why is she the one that has to prove that she was victimized when there's so much evidence? Why can't we just take her word at face value?
In a brief word, in a brief phrase, I would say misogynoir. And that is the particular form of misogyny and anti Black racism that Black women and girls are so often attacked by and under scrutiny by. It is a deep hatred of, fear of, and mistrust of. And that mistrust part plays such a huge role here in the way that we are processing, in the way that so many are attacking, deriding, and dismissing her. It fits into a long history of not believing Black women, not listening to Black women, let alone protecting Black women. And Megan, sadly, one of our most recent examples of how that plays out at this level.
One of the things you wrote recently is, I'm both exhausted and infuriated by the indifference and the hatred spewed towards Megan. Our refusal to engage sends a message to Black women that we need to silently endure unequivocally and unequivocally protect those who harm us. We cannot continue to sweep things under the rug. I mean, what do you think is driving people's desire to just move on from the story and act like, why is she still talking about it?
I think there's one of the people who just will not believe her, even if they saw a video of him shooting her or her being shot, that would not convince them. But I think people are running with this fatigue because of that disdain, because we have focused on a Black woman in such a way that many of us do care that this happened to her. Many of us are advocating for her. And so the fatigue comes in is because why are we doing this thing that we usually don't do when it comes to Black women and girls, is defending them, speaking up for them, insisting that we continue to tell her story, insisting that she does not have to defend herself, but rather share her truth. And I think that insistence is grating people's nerves because we're not used to actually having to care and hold space for a Black woman who's been this way, despite the frequency with which Black women are abused, the frequency with which Black women are harmed, and sadly, the frequency with which Black women are killed in interpersonal and intracommunal violent situations.
One of the things I thought a lot about, and this is because Megan is actually my favorite rapper, is the content of her music and her onstage persona and how that plays into the response to her being a victim. So in her music, she has agency. She has bodily autonomy. She's in control of what happens to her body. When she's a victim in real life, not as her persona, in her real life, I think that there was a resistance to even accepting her as a victim because of the misogynoir that she faces in response to her music, right? There's so many people who are critical of even the fact that she has agency. She has the nerve to say, no, this is what I want to happen to my body in her music. I mean, speak to the dynamic of her persona and how that also played into how people responded to her victimhood.
Absolutely. There are people who went into the situation, went into assessing the situation with a deep hatred for her, a deep dislike for her, and a fear of a Black woman who was so explicitly and overtly claiming her sexual autonomy, her sexual desires and her pleasures, the power that she evokes when she performs, right? We joke about Meg's knees and twerking and all of this, but there's also a side of people who are just disturbed and bothered by a Black woman who dares to be so self-possessed in such a dynamic and rich way. And so when she's actually harmed, it's like, oh, I thought she was so big and bad, that she's not allowed space to be vulnerable. She's not allowed space to be victimized because now they're weaponizing how she performs and this persona against her to discredit the fact that she too can be vulnerable and victimized and harmed. And this also goes into her size as well, that she is a tall, statuesque woman, curvy. And so the ways that often transphobia plays into this and the ways that people are trying to identify her as more masculine and defeminize her in this while also denigrating trans women. It's so many layers to this that points out and highlights how far we have to go to actually hold space and hold care and hold Black girls and women warmly when they're harmed, and certainly before they are too.
And I love that she's used her platform, like her performance on SNL, to remind us all that we need to protect Black women. Hi, I'm Zerlina Maxwell. Thanks for checking out our channel on YouTube. You can see more from Zerlina by clicking any of the videos on this screen, and make sure you subscribe below to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. Thanks for watching.